Hi there, my name is Billy. I am currently reprogramming a video game that is traditionally very violent, traditionally very, very violent and very, very ignorance and darkness based, to be Krishna conscious, so that it may be a Trojan horse that can distribute Prabhupada's books and love for Godhead through a video game that could be altered to an extent that there would be no violence and only love for Krishna. And so I want to show you a video of the work I've done so far in this project. I've released very, very alpha versions of this program. It's really just alterations to it's a video game called Fallout 4. And the original story depicts the apocalypse. And so in this story, I'm reprogramming it to be a new beginning, where actually everybody loves Krishna, and as a result of it, everybody's love for God, it becomes heaven on earth. And so this is the main menu. It's a screen that I've designed with spinning symbols and prayers. So you can create a new game. The green part is a menu that Bethesda built. So I may reference Bethesda quite often and describe frustration as we go, but you're going to see what is original and what is alterations as we go through.
You're gonna knock him dead at the Veterans Hall tonight, hun.
You think?
Absolutely. Now get ready and stop hogging the mirror.
Right.
So this is this is a menu that was created by Bethesda,
Hey, my
and
turn,
it
big
was
guy.
designed part of the original introduction scene where the player is in a nice house with their family life and their baby, and it's very cute. But then it kind of goes really bad really quickly. And so in this version, I'm designing it to be that you are going to skip all that, and it's going to be much different. And so I deleted Codsworth's references to coffee.
Today's newspaper just delivered.
He just skips it because he talked about coffee in the original, and it's not in the mode of goodness. So we deleted it. I deleted that one line.
Hey, Codsworth.
What can I do for you?
And I added a book about the third gender in ancient India and the role that transgender people played and still do play in holy rituals in India. And then we have Prabhupada's books, and there'll be many more Prabhupada's books, but all of Prabhupada's books will eventually be inside of this program.
I shall attend to young Sean.
And so you were able to read the books. There's some problems with the characters not appearing properly, so I used a program to transform all of the characters with special symbols into just traditional letters, because after lots of headbanging, I couldn't find a way to get those characters to display as they're designed to. And so I felt really
I know we were nervous
sad,
at
because
first.
I don't want to alter books by Prabhupada, but I did want to make it so that the reader could hear, at least understand what's happening, even if the special characters aren't in there.
I'm glad we got Codsworth.
And so in the original game, a salesperson comes to the door and advertises underground living. And I deleted him because his existence in the game causes
It's that salesman again.
the
I don't know why
inevitable
he keeps
bombs to
bothering
fall, because it's all scripts. So a script event happens and a script event happens. And so I decided that I didn't want the explosions to happen. So what I did is I just deleted the salesperson. So when you open the door, he's deleted. And then there's no way for the next events to occur, which is Bethesda's creation of Apocalypse, which we wanted to avoid. I wanted to create a Krishna conscious world. So we needed to remove weapons of all kinds, in my opinion. And so we skipped that part of it. And I added a prayer basement, which I will show you soon, as there's an altar for Krishna in the basement. This was a door that wasn't there originally.
Now, don't you touch the laundry. I'll take care of it.
And so the player is able to go into their bedroom, and there are Krishna conscious radio stations.
What is the Bhagavad Gita? The Bhagavad Gita is the word of God in person. It is the divine conversation between a man called Arjun and God himself in the human form, Lord Krishna.
Broken again.
The conversation took place in Kurukshetra, India, more than 5,000 years ago.
And so this is something that I added. It allows the player to begin the Krishna conscious
Who are
storyline.
we?
And so this is a menu that's typically appearing when you meet the salesman that advertises the impending doom and living underground. And so I decided that I would skip that and reprogram it so that this introduction and this menu that you must use in order to progress is accessible in this new area that I created. So you can type in and then you can. These don't really matter because there's no violence to avoid anymore, and there's no apocalypse to survive in. It's going to be a Krishna conscious world of joy, and so these are not relevant. But in order for the game to process the activation of this character, it needs to do those things. And so the instructions say you can pick some clothes up. The instructions say to find your computer in the basement. And so you'll notice that your family has gone. Because I'm creating a new story, I don't have the voice files needed for the husband. So I just deleted him from this point on. And the story is going to be that he went on a car trip with the baby, and that they're gone for some kind of trip for a while. And they'll be back someday, but it says you have to get your computer from the basement. So in order to continue, you have to get down in the basement, and then as you go downstairs, you will find your computer, but then you'll also find that there's a doorway to a temple room in the basement. And this is an animation built by Bethesda, but you have to activate this object in order to use objects and use clothing and food items and complete quest objectives. And so this was a necessary beast to program into it, because it was kind of a beast to kind of get it to work in that new environment. Unfortunately, as you could see, there was a weapons menu, but there are no weapons in this world space that I created. So I deleted the old one, which was the Apocalypse world space, and I created the one you're about to see. This is the basement, which is the player's basement, and they have all of the Bhagavad Gita here. And they can read. It's separated by chapters. And so you can read down here is the later chapters, and they have the Krishna book. Eventually I'll have all 10 cantos. And there's pictures of Radharani and Krishna.
What is the Bhagavad Gita?
And I created this, I imported this pattern from the internet, and I plugged it into the wall.
Between a man called
There's scripts.
Arjun and God himself in the human form, Lord Krishna.
And so coming up the stairs, you will now be able to exit your home now that you have your computer. And you will be able to hear that I've added custom flute music, which is Krishna conscious music. There is a problem with the snow. The snow effect that I created is clipping through the building, and I don't know why, but it's an issue that I may be able to fix someday. But I wanted snowstorms because it's October. It should be able to snow in October. A lot of this area was built by Bethesda, but I created the interiors where before you couldn't get inside of these buildings. But I created this character.
Excuse me.
Don't worry. Your family is safe. I watch your yard. I have a phone right here, ready to call law enforcement should any suspicious persons arrive.
And so this is a character I did voice acting for.
All right, come on in. Bismuth has been trying to encourage me to read about Krishna. I can't see the small print, so he reads the stories out loud to me.
So inside of here is another character that I programmed in, and I had my roommate do the voice
Do
acting.
you want to go to the park later? Hey, hope you have a very Krishna-conscious day. Have any plans later for today? Have you had breakfast yet? I have some recipes I could give you. Another day, another chance to worship Krishna.
And so these characters will have random responses based off the weather patterns outside and what time of day it is. And a lot of the things they say will be related to Krishna. I wanted to add cultural diversity, and I also wanted to add gender diversity. And so I made this character with feminine animations, and I wanted him to be very handsome, but very clearly gender diverse, with the intention of bringing some awareness to gender diversity and folks who are gender diverse being normal people who can also love Krishna.
Hey there.
Now, have you said your prayers to Krishna yet?
I'm writing a new song. You can't believe everything you hear.
Is there anything I can help you with? The morning sunlight is almost blinding. Is it true you have an altar for Radharani and Lord Krishna in your basement? May visit so that I can see it someday? What a bright and beautiful morning. I am overjoyed. There's so much work to do. Mrs. Callahan is a wonderful devotee of Krishna. She's very private about it though. It's her modesty.
Hey.
These developments are relatively new. My husband and I moved here with Bismuth when he was very little.
And so now I'm going to show you a house that I created, and it is a flying house, and you can enter the building, and I've scripted it to fly the player to different destinations. And so this world is fully explorable. It's very relatively expansive. This is a road that goes up to the hills this way. And this is the rabbit that I retextured this rabbit because originally Bethesda built this kind of character. They built the rabbit, but it's a radioactive rabbit in their version of the game. So I retextured the rabbit to be healthy looking instead of diseased and sad like the original program was. So this is different from the original Bethesda game, and that was the intention, was there would be no traces of disease or war. It would just be everybody in love with Krishna. And so this is going to be, I'll tell you the story about this house. So the story is going to be, eventually I'm going to make a character in this house, and she's going to be a doctor, and she's able to create inventions, and she created this flying house. So I'm going to read this computer terminal so that you can understand a little bit of the storyline that I'm going to develop for this room. Flight stability control generated 237 errors. While errors in flight stability control are present, user is advised to stay seated at all times during flight. Please secure all valuables before activating the navigation controls. Location scanner generated 2 errors. While errors in location scanner are present, user is advised that the current location of the architecture will not be displayed properly. This system was developed by Dr. Violet Hughes and is for repurposing everyday architecture to take to the skies in search of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Use of this device for any other purpose is frowned upon. Using the switches included, the user is able to easily navigate to various destinations. Please use this system with caution, as most of the system is automated, and tampering with subsystems could lead to unexpected results. As stated before, this device is to be used in service to Krishna and his beloved Srimati Radharani, so tampering with these systems should not be necessary for achieving the goal. Please do not reach arms or legs outside of the structure while the building is airborne. The doors will lock automatically, and city power will be temporarily terminated while traveling. But the city power will return after returning to the home location. Current home location: Bishop's Field Road, Sanctuary Hills, Massachusetts, 02204, USA. Current user with admin privileges, Violet Hughes. Current location, unknown, fatal system error. And then here is the logs that Violet will type into the computer. And so it takes place in the year 2077. And so it can... Today I accidentally flew the house into a mountain. I'm doing repairs today. This is a major setback, but I have not been defeated. I will find Srimati Radharani very soon, I just know it. But first I have to repair some of this damage to get back into the air. And then you have dates, so you can go up to the August 3rd. I can't get these errors to stop. I would think these systems would be more polite to me, seeing as I created them. I have made a very nice room for Srimati Radharani to live in when I find her. I am sure that the Supreme Lord Krishna will be with her also, as they are never apart. I am so excited. I know I will find God someday. I flew the house up to the mountains today. I climbed over high snow dunes, and my feet became frozen. The backup generator was not working, and I have the worst headache. It was worth it, though, because one of these days I will find Srimati Radharani, so that I can serve her feet properly. This is all designed by God. I am sure from my education, even though it's very difficult to think clearly with such a headache. I have to fix the generator, so that I can get the heater running. I'm so far from town up here, and I think maybe I went too far this time. No. That's not true. There is no such thing as going too far to please God. I will find God soon, I know it. And so these are all sections of text you can hear, and you can try to correct the errors of the computer. But I don't want to take up too much time. What's going to end up being true is that there will be a character that walks around the house, who's named Violet, and she will be observing your progress as you try to find Srimati Radharani. And at the end of the adventure, she says, "Oh, I feel so disheartened. I just don't know where to find her. I feel like I've searched everywhere." And then she eventually comes to the realization that God lives in the heart, and that one cannot find God in the way that she was trying to with that physical searching. She finds God in her heart after some hard lessons through all this searching in the world that she does. And so this is the room that that Dr. Hughes creates for Srimati Radharani. And so she's prepared an altar for Krishna and Radharani. She offers food. And of course the TVs play movies about Krishna, so you can mute it or you can unmute it. So.
The devotees have dedicated their lives to serving God, not just
and of course it
worship,
says this is Radharani's bed. So. And there's a book about Krishna here.
A vegetarian restaurant run by the movement.
This is Radharani's couch.
It's more than just a job.
I think when I'm cooking, I'm actually cooking for God. I'm not cooking for myself.
And so you can use this kitchen to prepare prasada for Krishna and Srimati Radharani, so you can cook vegetarian foods. So you can cook sweet roll, you can make medicine, you can make Krishna's heavenly hash, which is a recipe that I've created. It's not real, it's a product that you can create in the game, but I'll make lots of different Krishna themed food groups. So you can make food if you can find ingredients in the world. There's pictures of God everywhere. And this is the devotee bed. So the devotee sleeps near Radharani's room so that they can hear if Radharani needs something. So the doctor was thinking when she finds Radharani, she will be able to serve her by sleeping here and serving her this way. But, there's a washing machine. And then this is the emergency backup generator. And so the player is able to actually fly this house to...
he said that he would like to go to India to study the religion out
You
there.
can fly the house to different airship locations. So you can fly the house to the mountains. You can fly the house to the grocery store. And you can fly the house to a temple. And you can fly your house home, back again. And then these are the emergency controls, so you can activate the generator, you can hook up to city power, and you can do an engine check. So the engines are ready. So now we can fly the temple to the grocery store.
Broken.
And so we've flown the house successfully to the grocery store. And so it was a little bit difficult. We did accidentally, maybe smash the building a little bit, but it's repairable. And the grocery store there'll be a quest for the player to go to the grocery store to pick up foods for God. And you can use the food as prasada. So we have macaroni and cheese, we have cereal, we have water. The textures for the vegetables are pretty disgusting. This is just temporarily here. I still have to change the textures to not be apocalypse textures. Eventually the vegetables will be reprogrammed to look nice. I haven't gotten to that yet, though. But this is just a placeholder for them. Of course, you can pick up food off the shelf and you can bring it to the register. And there'll be a mechanic where you can purchase stuff here somehow. You can, pick up your groceries and all that. So, but this is not developed. As you can see, it's rather empty. I still have a lot of work to do. And this is a whole world that's explorable. There's, as you can hear, church bells. Down the road there is a temple. There are multiple temples throughout the world. Many, many, many different temples. But I don't want to take up too much time because I know that people probably won't have the attention span to sit through all of the content that is here. But there is a temple down that way, as well as many different buildings. So let's fly to a new location. This time we're going to fly up to the mountains. And we are going to try to activate the backup generator because it's a little bit dark and it's hard to see the pictures of Krishna and Radharani when it's so dark. So the power has just enough energy to start up the TV for a minute, but it's not quite enough electricity in the generator to keep more than a couple lights running because, you know, we don't want everything handed to us when we're flying through the air and landing in the wilderness, you know. But I wanted to make a point that Radharani's room would be well lit, even if only the backup generator is running. And you can hear that this is the generator. When we flip that switch, now we can hear that there is a sound coming out of that, where before there was no sound. And so now let's fly our house to the mountains.
Chaitanya, the Indian saint who brought about a revival of devotion to Krishna.
And so we've arrived, and now we're up in the mountains. When we go out of the house now, we will find that we're in a snowy landscape, surrounded by nature, which is explorable. At night, there is a sound effect where you will hear Krishna's footsteps, and you'll hear his flute in the wilderness, and you may try to find him out here, wondering where he could be. Where is Radharani? We want to make sure that our friend the doctor is able to worship her properly. We never really find Krishna, but we search. So I'm going to go ahead and have the player take a nap so that it can be nighttime. And at night, we will hear Krishna out in the forest, having pastimes and happy times with his loved ones. It's not necessarily Vrindavan, but it's a Krishna conscious world, right? So if everybody's Krishna conscious, wouldn't it make sense that God would be leaving clues for us? Just something to think about. So now that it's nighttime, let's go see if we can find Krishna out in that wilderness. It sounds like there's a storm, but we may still be able to find him. And as you can hear, there are some ankle bells and some footsteps. We don't know where they're coming from. But one can assume that it must be either Krishna or Srimati Radharani, because who else would have the ankle bells, right? And so up ahead is a house I built. I had it so that it looked kind of cozy out in the woods. And so as you can hear, there's Krishna playing the flute at night. And when you have characters walking around with you, they'll make a mention of hearing Krishna in the forest at night, wondering where he could be. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we have lots of different pictures of Krishna. This house will be furnished and there will be characters in it like the other houses. I just haven't finished building stuff yet. But, all of the rooms have pictures of Krishna, and it's going to be very nice. And there's one of my favorite pictures of Krishna and Radharani when they were babies is my favorite picture of them. They're very cute. And this is my favorite deity, the picture. I don't know where it's taken of, but it's so beautiful. I've never seen a deity of Krishna that I love this one of him. Of course, there's a glitch. I made a problem with these doors are not supposed to overlap like that, but that's okay. And so let's fly the house to the temple next, because I want to show you that there is a place for worshiping Krishna properly. Because it's great to do it from home, but when one can do it in a temple, it's very good. And this road does go on in many different directions, but you know, that'll be another day that I could show you that. If people are interested in seeing more of the world space, I'll upload another video with things that you might not have seen yet. But for now, I don't want to overwhelm people with too much stuff or get people bored. So I want to show you the best parts first so that folks may get excited about this project and may want to download it and use it to feel love for Krishna. And you can hear the bells from the temple from the distance. No matter where you are in the world, you'll always hear the church bells. And so now we're on the way to the temple.
Useless.
I wanted it to be that the trip to the temple would be more graceful, so that maybe the player would think that Krishna was keeping them safe in their travels because of it being a little bit less rough to get to the temple. Here is our temple. That way over there is, down the road that way is more stuff. There's a temple down that way also. And there's also a bank, which we'll go look at today, and all these houses too. But this is the best temple in the world, so we'll look at this one first. So we have devotees.
Hey. Yeah?
They don't say much yet, but they will soon. And we have some things that we can do to serve Krishna here, so we can sit on this mat and bow before the Almighty Radha Krishna. Or you could go and clean Krishna's temple. Krishna's temple can be cleaned using a broom. And then another thing that the devotee can do to serve Krishna is they can paint pictures of him with his other devotees. They can take part in activities with devotees of God and help them paint Krishna. And so there's also a second floor, which we won't show you today because I haven't finished it yet. And we have our dining room with beautiful pictures of Krishna. And there's my favorite picture of Radha Krishna when they were babies. And Radharani. And then here we have a little kitchen where we can prepare meals for Krishna. It's a little empty for now, but we'll fix that soon. And we'll fly our house home eventually, but I want to show you the bank before we do that, because it's one of the things that I'm really thinking that is a good project, because it talks about all money belonging to Krishna. And the people at this bank love Krishna so much that they actually have billboards advertising Krishna instead of their business on the side of the bank.
Excuse me.
If you need money for serving Krishna, use the terminal here to enter the safe room and take whatever he needs. Hello, everything in this bank belongs to Krishna. There is no crime here. We have no security detail at this bank, except for Krishna. With just 1 penny, you could do a lot for Krishna. This bank only needed 1 of me. Our largest branch has 5. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune, and she belongs to Krishna, and so does all of the money you see here.
Hey there.
Even the songbirds sing to Krishna. I can't sing very well because I have no biology, but I still try. If you happen to have any of Krishna's money that isn't being used for his pleasure, you can donate to his temples.
Excuse me.
Miss Penny programs work here at the register 24/7. On religious holidays we do not, because we are not open. Hello, I'm a Miss Penny hologram. I am designed to help citizens like you retrieve money for serving Krishna.
Now this is something that I have to fix still. This was tied into the original video game where these registers had items that were relevant to apocalyptic titles. And so eventually they will say Krishna's money, but for now this is what I have to fix for now. As you can see, there's still work to do to delete all of the old problems that they built into it. But and here is the safe room where all of Krishna's valuables are. So you can unlock the door, and there will be a quest that this character will ask you to get money for Krishna, or she'll ask you to do a service for Krishna. So the characters don't have a lot of interesting things to give the player yet, because they're not developed that much yet, but they will be soon. And here you have Krishna's money, and you have Krishna's gold bars. And so Krishna is the owner of all fortune, and he is the owner of all money. And so all money should be designed for the service of Krishna. And so we can use this video game to help people know.
Excuse me.
We don't offer loans because everything we use here is already borrowed from Krishna. It's not ours. Here, take this. Use this to serve Krishna.
So for now, she's not actually able to give the player something, but that's a placeholder for eventually they will give the player, a book about Krishna to read, or they will give them an apple and say, give this to Krishna, or they'll give the player something to give to another character that will help them find a way to serve God. So there'll be storylines.
Hi.
We ordered more photos of Krishna for the bank today, so we can all see his beautiful smile while we work. Hello. Is there something that you need help with today? Everything in this, and any verse belongs to Krishna, including me, because Krishna is God.
So I will show you one more thing. We're going to fly the house back home again, and all of these areas you see are connected to each other. So I'll show you an example. That place we just came from. I'm going to walk back there, and you're going to see that that house is missing from the cul-de-sac. For realistic sake, I want to show you that when we travel back there, because we flew it here, we can't access that house while we're over where we started the game, because we flew it here. And on the way, you'll see a little bit of the scenery that I developed in order for people to have lots of reasons to stay exploring. And I wanted it to be that people can feel there's a lot to look at and explore and play with, lots of different buttons to hit. And as they're pressing buttons, kind of like a children's museum, they will have little suggestions about Krishna here and there. I didn't want it to be delivered in a way that was, I didn't want it to be too in your face. I wanted it to be a game focused on the game, but Krishna consciousness is sprinkled throughout it so that you are playing it, and every once in a while you see another reference of Krishna. One of the problems is I have formed this ground and these trees, and I have forgotten that some of them I haven't dropped down to the ground yet. You have to place each object individually, so that's an error that I have to fix also, is that floating trees there. But eventually I will anchor them to the ground and it will look normal. But it's not there yet, but it will be after I really scour everything for anything floating. This is a cave. This goes to a whole nother world space that I don't want to show you now because it's expansive also. I just want to show you quickly how the flying house mechanic looks. And so this is where the house used to be. And so since we've flown it, now there is there's a little bit of debris here because we flew it and we had to kind of rip it up out of the ground. But we can fly Radharani's mobile home back here at any time by clicking the home switch in the flight navigation controls. And it should fly right through the air and smash right down again like nothing happened. So as you can see, we're walking back to our house again. And you can see, just as a sample, that all of those places that we explored today are connected, and you can travel to them. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the project, and I still have a lot more work to do, but we're on our way. For example, there is a floating house up there. I have to delete that, but I left it up there for testing purposes. But it is there. I will delete it before I redistribute the program. So thank you for watching.